Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. After my video on the first section hike I took on the Florida Trail, I had quite a few people asking me about the ambiguity of the bear sign. I wrote it all up in a blog on my website, which you can read at trailnamace.com/blog. But I figured while I'm out here hiking a new trail today, in this glorious weather, my car said it was 39 degrees when I got out. So I figured I'd bring you along and just tell you the story.
Please click like and subscribe to join my hiking family.
Bearbait and I got a late start on the first night we were starting our section. And we got in a couple of hours, found a beautiful campsite right next to the water, and quickly passed out. I woke up maybe a couple of hours later, hearing some thundering coming through the palmettos. And I knew, just from what I know about how larger animals walk, I knew it wasn't a deer or a pig. And just listening to it, I could tell it was a bear. And I just laid in my tent thinking, yeah, this is cool. Because we had talked about how we wanted to see a bear, but we didn't really want a bear encounter. So that was the first night. Came and went, no problem. The second night, after hiking a good ways, we found another amazing campsite, set up, ate a couple of homemade hiking meals. In fact, we actually both chose the chicken with Thai peanut sauce. And thanks to the mosquitoes, hang on, I'm going to stop. I keep getting blurred out by the sun. But we got chased out back into our tents by the mosquitoes. And it was brutally hot, and neither of us were comfortable at all. But we managed to doze off. A little while later, I guess, I wake up to Bearbait calling me. And I was like, "Hey, Ace!" I was like, "Yeah, what?" He says, "There's something big out there." And right at that moment I hear crack, crack, crash! And I was like, no big deal. It's just a bear. Sounds like he's knocking over dead trees looking for grubs or something. And as soon as I said that, we hear this. Well, Bearbait, being his first experience out hiking, he's like, "What was that?" And I was a little more nervous at this point. He says, "Well, it sounds like a bear, and it doesn't sound like he's happy." And as soon as I said that, even closer. Well, knowing what I know about how people deal with bears when they encounter them, you just kind of firmly talk to him, tell him to go away. So I was like, "All right, bear, go on, get out of here. Go on, bear, go on." And I did that a couple of times. The next thing you know, again, except this time, when it huffed, he was so close, he moved my tent and made the rain fly flap. Well, at that point, all intellect was gone, and it was nothing but instinct. And what happened next, I wasn't in control of it, just came out, and I just started and just went crazy, snarling and salivating and just barking like crazy. While Bearbait, not knowing what was going on, was like, "What was that?" And I told him, I said, "Well, I've heard and that bears instinctively will avoid dogs, especially large dogs that sound aggressive." And he was like, "Yeah, it was you?" So I was like, "Yeah, that was me, man." I said, "All right, it's okay, And well, the bear started pacing back and forth. And it started getting a little closer, so I started barking again. And it seems like as I was barking, it would pretty much stay away. Well, we figured after a few minutes it would get bored and go. No, it was sticking around. It wasn't having it. So there's no cell signal anywhere in the Ocala National Forest that we'd encountered. So Bearbait says, you know what? I'm gonna try the SOS feature on my phone. And he gets through to somebody, and they say, "Oh, just bang on a pot and pan, it'll go away." We'd been dealing with this for about half hour, 45 minutes at this point. So we're like, you know what? I'll bark, I'll bang on my boiler, which I wound up ruining my GSI halulite, but I'll tell you about that after. So yeah, so I start banging on the bottom of my halulite with the butt of my knife, and alternating between that and barking, and the bear, it would pace, and then it would go around our little campsite, both of our tents really close by, and then it would go sit, and then it would stomp, and then it would get up and pace again. No matter what we were doing, it wasn't going away. So I continued barking, and Bearbait, he was beside himself. He didn't know what to do. So he again, I suggested that he call again and ask to speak to somebody in Fish and Wildlife. So they put him in touch with somebody at Fish and Wildlife, and after explaining to him what was going on, they're like, don't worry about it, just sit tight. So we're both ready to have one heck of a long night. So again, continued barking, and eventually the pacing stopped. And I thought, well, you know what? Maybe it's gone away. So I sat and listened for a long while and realized, okay, maybe he's gone. Maybe he got bored. Maybe he just realized it wasn't worth messing with. So I slouched down onto my sleep pad and I figured, okay, maybe I can manage to get a little sleep. And the moment my breathing changed, where I was starting to relax, there was a stomp right next to my tent again, and that just lit me up, and I started barking all over again, and woke up Bearbait, freaked him out, and so that went on for a while. And every time I asked Bearbait what time it was, because when you don't have signal, you keep your cell phone off, otherwise it will eat up the battery completely searching for a signal. So we were alternating who had their phones on. So after what we thought had been an hour and a half or so, turned out it was only 45 minutes. So I continue barking, banging on the pot, and just doing whatever we can to make sure this bear stayed away from us. So that went on for a while, and then shortly we start hearing vehicles somewhere nearby, at least nearby enough that we could hear them. And then a few minutes later, we start hearing voices way off in the distance. And we hear, hello? And I managed to rasp out, hello? And at that moment, I hear this big shuffle, and the bear takes off into the woods. I guess the fact that more people were coming was what it needed to finally make him leave us alone. So what happens is Fish and Wildlife shows up, along with a forestry guy, and they tell us we need to, we need to get out of there. Well, they're both looking at us, smiles on their faces, like laughing at some city boys that thought they'd been harassed by a bear. And so I explained the behavior, the huffing, the moaning, the stomping, the pacing. And Fish and Wildlife, that guy, he finally changed his expression and realized that, yeah, something had happened out there. And we kind of showed him where the bear was sitting, and where he finally shuffled, and you could see it was pretty big shuffle on the ground. And he says, "Man," he says, "yeah, that was a bear. A lot of what he was doing was telling us that he was nervous. You hear that? He was nervous by a couple of guys in tents who were ready to pee themselves." So then the forestry guy he chimes in and says, "Oh yeah, we've got more and more reports of an aggressive male bear in the area." Yet he came in looking, laughing at us. So anyway, we pack up, and they told us that they'd get us up to the road and they'd take us to the campground, which was there was a paid campground just off the Florida Trail, a couple miles up the road, that we had known about, but we like staying in the woods, just out in the complete wilderness, where you can get away from all the noise. I don't know if you can hear this traffic noise, but this trail apparently is near some roads that I don't know if I'll be trying to film content out here again. It's a beautiful hike. I usually see lots of deer out here. I mean, you can see. I mean, it's beautiful, typical Florida countryside. But so we hop on the back of Forestry's truck and they take us to the campground, and we kind of half-heartedly set up. We were kind of over it by this point. It was over 2.5 hours that bear had harassed us. So we set up our campsite, and it's still hot. Still took a while to fall asleep, but we finally did. At some point shortly thereafter, I wake up hearing something crashing through the palmettos at the back of our camp, which I could actually see out through the back of my my Marmot tungsten tent. The only place you can easily see out without some part of the rainfly open is under the rainfly at the back. And fortunately, my tent was facing the back of the campsite. I see a bear coming out near the fire pit. So I start barking. It turns around and goes back. It does what bears are supposed to do. The other one was being anomalous. So it goes back into the tent, or into the woods, not into the tent, not into the tent. A couple minutes later, I see it coming back from another side. So I bark again, it turns around and goes back. And then a third time it comes down from another side. It really wanted to be near our fire pit. So I start barking like crazy. It wakes up Bear Bait. He's freaking out. Not again! Well, the bear turns around, it starts walking back into the woods. And right before it does, it turns and looks like, all right, I'm going. But you didn't have to be such a jerk about it. So somewhere along the line, I dozed off for a few minutes. But after a night of bear encounters, I was kind of over it. So yeah, that was our bear encounter. People have said that I got attacked by a bear. No, I didn't get attacked by a bear. We got harassed by a bear. There's a big difference. Now, I mean, neither of us knew we were going to come out of that okay, even alive, because you never know. I mean, at any given time, any wild animal can attack. We don't know. So it was just one of those things where we just had to deal with it in the moment. And yeah, I didn't even see the one that harassed us because, again, my Marmot tent, it's amazing. And the more lightweight, through hiker friendly one-man tents, they're generally pretty much just a tent covered in the rainfly. Anytime I've been on the AT, most of what you see, you don't really see anybody who has a tent that they can see out of. So I didn't get to see the bear. I would have liked to have seen it after that, but I didn't see it, didn't photograph it. The one I did see, it was still too dark. I could just make out its shape. But that's what happened. You can read about the entire thing, the entire section. In fact, every section I take, I journal. And you can read all of my section hikes, anything of any length, especially something of any drama, you can read about. It's on trailnameace.com/blog. I've got a couple sections on the AT plus the one on the Florida Trail, and hope to add some more very soon. Most of the trips I take are day hikes or quick overnights where I just kind of go out, trying out new trails, trying out new product, filming content. And now there's a plane flying overhead. So yeah, this probably isn't going to be a trail I come to film more content. But anyway, so I just wanted to let you know, rather than writing it out a bunch of times. I figured if you wanted to know what happened with the bear, and I didn't mean to be ambiguous. I just figured everybody would go to the blog. But again, I don't think I really posted a link to the blog. So, my bad. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Be sure to visit trailnameace.com to find links to products I've reviewed. Thanks for watching, and keep hiking!